Okay, so I'm currently P4, 3/10 off the pace. I haven't done a lap in the optimum racetrack settings, but it's not easy with the Ferrari. Wow, 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 wow! It's not easy right now. So I'm a
Okay, let's
bit
get
stressed.
started here. So, welcome in everybody to the finale, the final round of GT Rivals, the esports series. So, first things first, just to get started, I want to thank everybody who's been taking part all this time. It's been a very solid 8 weeks. I know a lot of you guys are new to sim racing or new to ACC specifically, and there's been a huge learning curve week after week with all the different tracks that you may or may not have visited. So thank you guys for coming out and doing this. It's been fantastic to have you all taking part. And if you're ever looking for more racing after this, just reach out to any of us here. We're happy to offer you any services you might be looking for. Now, moving on to today's race. Nothing will have changed, but for those new, we will go through the usual rounds. So, after this practice session, there will be a 20-minute qualifying session, followed by a 2-minute post-qualifying timer. During that time, the timing board will stay up on your screen, but that's fine. That will run for 2 minutes, and we will then be moved into the pre-race session. Now, there will be a 5-minute pre-race timer, and during that time, you're able to adjust your setup, put in the correct amount of fuel, change your brake pads, whatever else you may need to do in order to prep for the race. We will be running a full formation lap. There will be ghosting on the formation lap, but not on lap 1. So I urge everybody to express a little bit of caution on the first 2 laps, essentially, just to play everything safe, and make sure you do take extra fuel for the formation lap as well. There will be no mandatory pit stop during the race, so make sure you fuel up for the whole 60 minutes. And as it is a free formation lap entirely, make sure you remember your grid position and what side of the track you should be forming up on once the game tells us to go double file. Also a note on the track real quick, as I do actually have the track map. So, in order to prevent the field kind of bunching up in the last couple of corners and then having to accelerate abruptly as the leaders come towards the start-finish line, I would like the leaders who are controlling the pace at the front to drop their pace down to around 70 kilometers an hour through turns 13 to 15. From there, control the pace up until the final corner, at which point you are allowed to accelerate up to around 90 kilometers an hour, and hold that until the lights go green and we are racing, just to prevent anybody at the back of the field from accelerating suddenly and potentially getting a bit of an advantage coming out of the final corner as they accelerate to catch up to the field. That's all we're looking to avoid. Now, there will be live stewarding for this race, as always. It will be slightly short-staffed, as we do happen to have our chief steward taking part today as well. And all of our stewards have been doing a fantastic job this series as well. And they will be looking for incidents. They will be monitoring the race live for the first couple of laps, and they will be marking down any incidents. So do keep in mind that if you do receive a penalty for a collision, it is possible that it is something that occurred anywhere from 3 to 6 laps ago, depending on when the stewards actually take the time to review it versus when they first note it down. So expected a delay, don't think you did anything wrong immediately at the time that you get a penalty, if you do. In terms of blue flags are simply a notification for drivers that they are about to be lapped. That does not mean that they are required to move off the racing line or in any other way yield to the faster car behind. However, that does not mean that they should freely defend and block the position. The goal is to facilitate an easy pass, and the car doing the overtaking is responsible for notifying the driver that they're overtaking, whether it be through flashing the headlights or simply going for the move down the inside of the corner. And at that point, keep it clean, leave the space, and don't fight the position. That would be greatly appreciated, but you don't need to worry about moving off the racing line. In terms of in-game chat, there should be nothing in the in-game
It's
text
Thrustmaster
chat.
TGT.
There can be some discussion during Discord. Once we get to qualifying and the race itself, I would like everybody to essentially just be quiet. We want total radio silence so that drivers can focus on their laps that they're setting and also on their race if they're fighting for position. Let's see, what else do we have? if you do receive a penalty, note that if you do have the automatic pit limiter enabled in-game, that does not automatically slow you down before the white line for the pit speed limit. So if you do have to serve a penalty, you must manually slow the car down before you cross the line and keep the car in first gear. At that point, the game will enable the pit limiter, and you'll be serving your penalty properly. If you fail to do that, you will most likely receive a stop-and-go 30-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. In terms of post-race, just behavior, donuts are fine, as it is the finale. That is perfectly acceptable.
Yellow flag.
We would like drivers to stay on the server during that time in case they are called in for an interview, so the broadcasters do have a car to focus on. And we would also like people to avoid driving into each other, punting apart cars, doing donuts out in the gravel, whatever the case may be, just to keep up a good image and to keep things looking nice and clean and professional. I do believe that covers everything. The last note would be if a driver is called into the broadcast room, then just be prepared to move into the broadcaster's voice channel so that you can take part in post-race interview if requested. I will be reaching out to drivers who are expected to take part in the general discussion channel and also in voice if they are present in this channel. I do believe that covers everything. Does anybody have any questions before we get started?
You're gonna let the final 9 minutes.
Yep, we are going to run to the hour, at which point the session will be forwarded. It's actually fairly well timed. The session will forward to qualifying, and we will be going racing. Note that if you don't have a mic but you do have a question, you are free to ask in the general discussion channel. Okay, I think we're all good then. So, as Keith asked, we will be running the rest of this free practice session, so feel free to take the time to make any final adjustments before we go to qualifying. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Josh.
Performance node needs to be enabled, and I need to go to my mate, Chris. Go back to Chris. Okay, Chris, I'm back. Chris? Oh God. Mic check,
Test,
Chris.
test, test.
There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're struggling a little bit here.
So race setup. We will go up one break duct.
I did.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Cool. Did you see my message on damping as well?
No, you can tell me.
Okay. We might want to try going up on the front bump and up on the rear rebound.
In race or in general?
In general. It'll be 1 or 2 clicks. You can make a 2-click change, but that's a bit. It's gonna be a bit. That's gonna be a bit hectic before quali. So I prefer just to try one and see how that feels. What do you think?
Let's try it quickly. I won't save it, but
Yeah. So okay, let's do 2 clicks front bump, 2 clicks rear rebound on the quali setup.
up.
Up. Yes.
2 clicks rear rebound.
Yeah.
Up.
And 2 clicks front bump.
Did that. Yeah, did that.
Cool. Perfect. That's all fine. Pressures are fine. We're happy. 22-28 track.
Hightocker is here, but it's very close. Look, there's 5 drivers in 0.3 of a second, within a tenth, from P4 to P8, and I think he's P9. So he's going to be front row as always, the bastard.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, so just a quick thing on quali. We will have time for 3 runs
If
we're efficient. 3 lap runs are possible if we're efficient.
what if we just wait a minute at the beginning?
If we wait a minute at the beginning, it will be very tight.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
But we will get at least 2 laps in the final run, which I think is
That's okay.
worth it. Yeah. We just don't want to do 1 flying lap in that last run.
Oh, I wanted to try softer anti-roll bar at the front. Shit. Frame rate is struggling, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I can see it on the YouTube screen.
Yellow flag ahead. Be careful.
Can't change the encoder settings midstream, boys.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
Ugh.
Yellow flag. Be careful.
Thanks, Kev. How you doing, mate?
in sector 1.
Track has gotten quicker.
Well done, mate. The fastest lap
Yeah.
so far.
Just checking. 6 seconds left anyway.
Yeah.
look,
Yeah, he
look at
probably would've
Brian.
done a 6th.
Look at Brian.
Is he at the top?
He's second.
Right, cool. So 11 liters for quali. These pressures I think are perfect. They'll be fine even if temperature drops a little bit for quali, but I'll just keep an eye on that. And then yeah, not much else to say.
Jason Bagley, my bagels. What's happening, my brother? One of my best friends, Jason Bagley. Give him a W for win. Look at this. Oh, Brian, go away, man.
Did he just do a 3?
He's so good. He's so good. He is so good. Oh, it drives me nuts. No, guys, today I didn't have any jittering. Today, jittering. I mean, it's just the story of my life.
Green light, go, go, go.
Okay. Yeah, pressures will be fine for this run.
I couldn't have pressed drive any quicker, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed. Good stuff, dude.
Thanks for the 10 euros, my man. Ah! Why are you trying to overtake me? Why am I getting frame rate issues?
This has been your personal best. Yellow flag ahead. Watch out in front.
Oh my god, a 40.2. Oh my god.
Slow car ahead.
Okay, Chris, let's just try get our 40.4.
Yeah. Can you double check? Okay, I've changed the tyre set.
Yeah, anything else?
No, everything else was leave as is.
I'm sick of doing 7s, man. Let's try and get a 6. At least a 6. We did a 6 the other day, right?
We did do a 6, yeah, we did
Yeah.
a high 6.
Oh, thank you. But it was a high 6. Thank you, Chris. So we've reached peak peril, basically. We're on the apex of peak peril right now in terms of pace.
Yeah, we're there.
We're there. David and his consistency also knows how to fuck him.
Yellow flag, be careful there. There's a slow car up ahead. Yellow flag in sector 2. Yellow flag, be careful.
Yes, no.
Woo!
Well done, mate. Personal best.
I don't know what happened there. You'll see it now.
Slow car ahead. Yellow flag in sector 3.
No, I tried.
Bad date.
Woo! I tried to force the understeer, slide past the
Yep.
curb, but it didn't work. 7 minutes to go. We still have lots of time. So
We
now,
still have lots of time. We've got enough time for another 3-lap run.
we do that.
So 2 clicks down on the anti-roll bar. Copy.
And should we take out a touch of fuel? No.
Nah. If anything, I'd put a little bit more fuel if you want to do 4 laps.
No, it's okay.
But yeah. And tire set's good.
Yeah, I had to go back in to do it. Classic. The classic.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
Oh!
Yellow flag ahead. Watch out.
Oh!
Yellow flag ahead. Be careful.
Woo!
East.
Well done, mate. Your fastest lap so far.
Woo!
Yellow flag. Be careful there. Yellow flag in sector 3.
Well done, dude.
I'm running out of talent. That's it.
Well, you were 1.5 tenths quicker than you were yesterday. So,
I've run out of
awesome.
talent.
Mega, dude. Can you just show me what your tire pressures were? Because I think they might have changed between practice and quali. Just out of interest.
26.7, 26.6, 26.6, 26.6.
Okay. I just had your left side slightly different. But yeah, I think those pressures works. I think
Imagine the race loads at night. Tucker Woods! How are you, bro? Sacred geometry, my friend. You absolute legend. Okay. Let's make sure we have some fresh tires on this bad boy.
Yeah, fuel 100 liters, that'll be plenty, even if our fuel consumption goes significantly higher. I'm expecting about 36 laps in this race.
Where are we? P4? Oh my god, it's close here, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Tucker, I love you, bro. You're my favorite YouTube commenter.
Can you show me what the pressures are on the race setup, just to make sure that they're the same for the moment? That there are no surprises.
Corona hair. Usually I have no hair. Like none.
Oh, they're fine. Cool. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, dude.
Um,
I think the caster's not enough. Genuinely.
yeah.
This is the one thing that we changed yesterday, which was good. And then when we reverted back to the setup, I clearly forgot to change it.
Right. Do you want to change it before the race?
I don't know. What do you think? Let me just get out of this window.
But then again, I'm also quite cautious, so...
Eddie De Beer, thank you so much for the $20, my friend. Yeah, let's see how we go.
You did change the brake ducts, yes?
I will double check.
Yeah, cool.
Someone got instantly disqualified as Q started.
Yeah,
Oh,
it might have been...
It's getting
I wonder if it was someone
sweaty.
who wasn't supposed to be in the server or something.
Possibly. It's getting sweaty in these gloves, I can tell you now. How hot is it? I got a big window open, so we're all good. Greetings from Eifel in Germany. Guten Abend, Mr. Doku. Thank you, Edwin. This will be a tough race, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one.
This is especially like the Aston is so easy to drive around here. The Porsche dominates Tim O'Gorman. I don't know. I've never seen him before. Everyone give my favorite troll, Supercubic, a hard time, please. Yeah. Now we just wait, I suppose.
No, just wait. See what the server throws at us in terms of track conditions.
Yeah, nighttime, -2 degrees.
Oh gosh.
Paul S, I'm usually the only Ferrari in with a shout, so. Oh, okay, 30 degrees. It's the same as practice. I was
22, 30. Okay. What I would do is then go 1.1 down on all pressures.
You reckon, eh? Okay.
Yeah, because they were a touch high in quali, and we just want to be safe.
Okay.
And they're gonna drop anyway in the race, probably.
Yeah. 0.1 down.
Yeah, so it'll be 26.6.
And then 26.5 everywhere else.
Yeah. And then race fuel will start on 100 liters. I'm just gonna double check my calculations for the bajillionth time.
Thank you, Rosso, for the donation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not using it tonight, but Rosso makes these amazing replicas for the sim. Thrustmaster have been giving me a hard time for not using their room, so this is it. And you can check it on his Facebook, facebook.com/, I'm guessing Rosso Sim Racing. Patrick, awesome. Thank you for buying the setups, man. That is absolutely epic. Someone the other day beat me on my own setups in GT Rivals Quali. I think it was... When was it? What was after Suzuka, dude? Oh, it was by Barcelona.
Barcelona, yeah.
Home track and away. Chris and I have been here once in our lives. So, yeah.
I've been here, technically I've been here twice, because I came here just before I left South Africa.
Okay.
Literally for one of the first races they did. It was quite cool.
We are basically as foreign as these people in the race, dude. No, not really. I did a 9-hour round here. And Kyalami 6-hour with my boy Ulti. And we dominated. Not really. We won by 3 seconds after 6 hours.
Yeah. 3 seconds. Bit tight, but...
It was tight. The Porsche was hunting, and then I didn't make a mistake. He was catching half a tenth a lap. I went
Sure.
into psycho mode, Dave. Yeah, I've definitely done more laps in ACC than my entire GT career. Wouldn't you say, dude?
Easily, dude.
Easily, considering how
Dude,
how little we
we
drive in real life.
Dude, we probably do what we do in an hour in ACC, what we usually do in a morning in a proper test session.
Yeah, Chris. This didn't break. This wasn't the problem. The problem was the game. When you alt tab out in my game, in particular, which I'm going to have to do now, you lose downshifts.
Oh, one more thing to check. Double check the brake ducts, please.
Error, Roger. 3 and 2. Alles
3 and
gut.
2?
Alles gut.
Fine. Good.
We just gotta sit here and wait for a mate.
It's ready for mate.
My personal favorite number is 38. And ironically, the numbers I've raced with in GT are 888, 333, and 888. So. But my original sim racing, my video game, pseudonym, was it was kart number 38 for forever, and then Claudio made me change it to 207 because he said 38 for some reason had an omen over it. Claudio was big on luck. Chris, I've shared data just out of interest. Oh, dude, we have to reduce the front anti-roll bar by and
Yep,
that's
okay.
all we changed, yeah. So
Dampers, did you change the dampers on the race setup?
No. Bump up to and rebound up to.
Rebound up to, yeah. Bump up to front, rebound up to rear.
Yeah. Whew.
Perfect. Cool.
Holy.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have reminded you about that.
No, we both were reminiscing about the good old times. No, we're not going to change the caster. We're going to leave the caster.
Yeah, let's leave the caster. I think it's a bit too late now. And it will help us with time wear.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Minimized Streamlabs. Can I select gears? Not yet.
Right, dude. Final GT Rivals race, dude.
I will be looking forward. Oh, hang on. No weekends off. Le Mans in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
The work starts.
Stay single file.
Work starts tomorrow. The Porsche and the Nick McMillan is a Gran Turismo America finalist. Oh, winner. GT Academy. And so is Brian. Tim O'Gorman? Is it Tim? I don't know. T. O'Gorman? I don't know. Let's hope we don't get massive latency, dude.
Yeah, but it looks like your latency looks good for the moment. So.
Is the frame rate still janked on YouTube?
Right, not amazing, but
Okay.
it's alright. Yeah, good luck, dude.
Thanks, my man.
Survive the first few laps.
Yeah, let's survive
Have
turn
fun.
1. Thank you.
Green light. Go, go, go. Well done, mate. Fastest lap of the race so far.
Whoopsie! Dude, look at that thing go, hey? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well
god.
done, mate. Personal best. Well done, mate. Purple lap.
Mega move, dude.
It's not done yet.
Awesome job, dude. Awesome job.
Copy.
Keep this pace up, dude. You're currently the quickest car on the top three.
Copy.
Hard crossing was a bit quicker.
Copy.
Not 310. Mega job. Keep it up.
Copy. Oh, he's found some pace. I lost pace.
Yeah, that's copy.
flag ahead. Watch out in front. There's a slow car up ahead. Yellow flag ahead. Watch out.
Oh.
You matched P2 on that last lap.
Copy.
Pace is mega, keep it up.
Copy.
We are at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Alright mate, we're halfway through this race.
Copy. Oh. The D-bounce caught me out there. Sorry. That was a bad lap.
Still only a tenth slower than
Copy.
P2.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best. Well done, mate. Personal fastest lap.
That's 2 personal bests in a row. We're extending the gap.
Copy, copy. It's not over yet.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
Here we go, Chris. Our favorite back marker. Back in the zone, back in the zone. Whoa!
P2 was 3 tenths quicker than that.
Copy. Ah, the debounce. Shit.
10 laps to go. 10 laps to go.
Yeah, roger, roger. 10 laps to go. Copy that. You can count me down until 3 laps to go, okay?
Okay, copy.
With 3 laps to go, I don't want to know.
Okay.
Oh, now the debounce works. Don't worry, I know. All good, mate.
8 laps to go.
Copy. Jesus. Effing D-bounce.
Six laps to go.
Copy that.
5 laps. 5 laps.
Copy that. No more talking.
Okay.
Track limits.
Alright, you've just started the final lap of the race as leader. Bring it home. Yellow flag in sector 3. P1, excellent job. What a race. Bring it back home.
You absolute hero.
Oh
First
my
and
god. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. That
Oh
last
my
lap.
god. Super Cubic, how's that, bro? You're probably not watching anymore because you like to watch me fail. Oh my god.
Ugh.
Well done, guys.
Grazie,
Oh,
Don
man.
Chicho.
Oh, dude.
I'm going back to the pits. I don't want to be near that thing.
Wow.
Wow.
Dude,
Wow. That was so tense, dude.
back marker and turn 10, dude.
At turn 10, my strong
Turn
point.
11.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
No,
god.
jeez. At the S's were my strong point, and that's where we caught him. I was like, okay, we have a problem here. We have a
Yeah.
problem here. Oh, it feels so good.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. We finally won a GT Rivals race.
Oh, we
And
finally
we won
won
it
an
at home.
SRO
And
race.
we won the...
At, with what, 7 laps to go, he was 1.8 seconds behind.
Yeah.
And then that back marker, and then boom, he got hungry. It almost like that gave him the fuel, and I was like, David.
Dude, dude, there was massive amounts of pressure that whole race, and you pretty much didn't put a foot wrong. So, I think, dude, that was incredible, seriously.
I was very nervous. I was like, don't
Yeah, I was
do
trying
what you
to
normally do.
Yeah, I was trying to keep communication to a minimum because I could sense that you were.
Wow, I'm so happy.
Dude.
Car was amazing, dude. Car was amazing.
Yeah, our front pressures were a bit low because we went up on the brake duct, but
Oh right, yeah.
Otherwise, I think all the changes we made were spot on.
Gotta take another hit. The tension. Hey, let's hit a bong, bro. Dude, that Nissan in a straight line.
Is
Wow.
it monster, dude?
A
know, dude,
monster.
To be fair though, we are still running quite a high wing.
Wow.
And I think we could have probably we could probably reduce the wing even further if we wanted to.
Yeah. I'm so happy we did it finally. Let me go to the interview room, dude. I'll be back.
Yeah, cool.
champion motorsports drivers and a top 5 here in the final race of the season. I confess, we didn't see you on screen a ton because we had some wild stuff going up at the front. So can you tell us a bit about how your race transpired?
Benefited from the first turn incident, and then passed a couple people who seemed to be struggling in front of me, and then pretty much a boring race after that. I didn't really have super good race pace, and the Audi Mason, I think, I kind of just let him by because he was like half a second faster than me every lap. So yeah, then just kind of drove it home after that.
How would you sum up your GT Rivals experience representing Champion Motorsports against some of the best GT drivers from the real world anywhere around?
Honestly, most of it was spent sort of helping and coaching some Bentley drivers, Cosmo and Byrne, and that was really rewarding seeing them get better throughout the season. My races, you know, they were okay. I think I probably could have done better, but helping them get faster was fun.
Well, it was great to have you in the championship. Thanks as well for the help that you provided and the rest of the CMS guys as well, to our pro racers who are stepping off into this brave new world.
I'm going to be...
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it there. A little bit of a microphone issue for someone joining us here in the booth. In the meantime, we're going to work out and have a little bit of a conversation with Tom O'Gorman. Podium result for the number 37. Not the Acura this week, Tom, but oh my goodness, I saw how much you were celebrating there at the end. You got to be absolutely thrilled with the podium result. It started on pole. I'm sure you would have liked to have won this race, but this has got to feel like a victory to you.
I'm so glad you got that. But yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. Those two, Brian and David, I cannot believe how consistent they were. I mean, I think we were basically running the same fastest laps, but they ran it every single lap, and I just didn't have that consistency. So I'm actually surprised to be only 6 seconds down from them. But yeah, I love my Acura. I pick it in the real world, but I decided to try something different this week, swing for the fences. Big thanks also to the sim racing guys to recommend a couple cars, and I kind of tested them all out, landed on what I drove, and really happy to bring home a podium, especially using my new ASUS equipment. It's been a huge step up in my performance in the last couple of weeks, so I wanted to be able to kind of perform on that level.
I think this sim racing kind of boom, as we'll have it during the pandemic, has been pretty far-reaching. But I think you've been one of the drivers that has embraced it the most across many different titles, this one included. But you know, obviously, we're really excited to we're looking forward to racing returning in the real world here. But tell me about this experience as a whole here in the GT Rivals Championship. Obviously, you had some bad luck, but the pace has been there, and I think everybody has seen that. What are your thoughts coming away from this? As you look at yourself as a racing driver, a competitor, the differences between the real world and the sim, we talk about it all the time, but I want your final thoughts here on this esports environment. How much like the real world is it when you're battling with these competitors that you see on the racetrack in the real world?
Well, I was very lucky that it was already part of my wheelhouse. I actually got my start in sim racing very similar to Brian, although I didn't, win a major competition to get there. When I was 13, 12 years old, I started sim racing, and then that grew into real motorsports with grassroots level things, and then grew into professional racing with SRO. So it was kind of a full circle thing for me, and it's also it's really cool to race against people that I now know and sometimes aspire to race to, or sometimes have raced with them on the sim. And I'm pretty grateful to be able to, flex that racing muscle, as you call it. The racecraft and all of that applies 100% to the real world the way that it works in the video games. So to flex that on a daily basis is almost better than what we get to do in real life. And I'm certainly looking forward to getting back into a real car for other aspects of that. But it's been a joy.
Tom, thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations on your podium, and we look forward to seeing you again. I'll see you next week, but congrats and enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see if we got Nelson Mason standing by with Ryan Marine. We'll see how this goes.
Well, Nelson, I think we're working through some mic issues on your end. Hopefully it's all settled out. But thank you for putting on a show for us, man. I know you didn't want to start at the back, but it was a blast watching you make progress all the way up into the top 5.
Yeah, it was quite a race for sure. I thought maybe we had the pace to get onto the podium there, but about 5 laps out, I had to massively turn down the engine to try to make it to the end, and I only just squeaked across the line before I ran out of gas. So it was I was pushing as hard as I could, but and trying to get through the field clean. And there's at the start there was kind of cars everywhere, and I went into turn 1 thinking, oh, I'm going to take the first lap off and try to just make it home. And then the seas kind of parted a little bit, and I thought, well, if I can pass 8 cars here, then I might as well do it. So it was quite a race though, and I was pretty happy with my pace. It was unfortunate to start at the back, but at the same point, it was an absolute blast for sure.
Well, it was awesome having you in the championship. Thanks again for entertaining us today, and hope to see you in an SRO paddock down the road.
I think the wind noise is from him going so fast there, Ryan. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. That was Finney DeCuna that made that joke behind the scenes. I just had to steal it. So we're going to move on now to second place, Brian Heitkotter in the number 5. Well, many races won this season. Today, not one of them, Brian, but you had me on edge. Everybody at home on edge. What a drive. What a finish. The official margin, I think, was 0.289 seconds. I'm sure your heart rate was high there. Walk me through not only the end of this race, but the season as a whole, and your thoughts walking away from GT Rivals after being so dominant and ending it on such a high note with an epic battle at the end with Peril.
Yeah, that was really exciting, wasn't it? First of all, congrats to David. He drove an impeccable race. He deserves the win. He pounced when I had some trouble with my rear tire pressures in the early phase of the race, and he took advantage of that. And every time I got close to him after that, my progress kind of stalled out. The loss of downforce following another car was pretty significant here. So I just couldn't quite, I would catch up to Dave, and I couldn't quite get close enough to make anything happen into a passing zone. And he didn't make any mistakes to make it easier on me. So he ran a great race, and I'm pretty happy with second. I was a little surprised to be as on the pace as it looked like I was. I don't know. I mean, maybe David can speak to this, but this track didn't feel like it suited a front-engine car super well. But nonetheless, I had pretty good pace and just couldn't quite make any moves happen. So yeah, it's been a great season. It's been a really good series to run with. A lot of very fast, consistent drivers, a lot of clean racing, which is just how I like it. Wreckfests and sim racing aren't really my thing unless that's what you're kind of setting out to do, but I like how this series has tried to emulate the real world as closely as possible. So I'm just appreciative to have been here through the season and finish it off on a pretty high note. Thanks everybody.
Hey Brian, thank you so much for talking to us. It was an epic season for you and a really good, clean battle to the end there. Congratulations on your wins this season, as well as a hard-fought second place, and we look forward to seeing you back here. Whatever is next on the schedule here in the coming months.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Brian. We're going to move on now to David Peril, who won this race by 0.3 of a second, less than 0.3 of a second, and Ryan Rain is standing by with the hometown hero this afternoon.
That's right, South African who now lives in the UK. David, congratulations on a race win in our championship race for GT Rivals, but you had to earn it the last handful of laps as Brian was closing that gap down. What was that like from the race seat of your virtual Ferrari?
It was pretty intense, I won't lie. There was a phase in the middle of the race where I pulled about almost a 2-second gap, and I felt pretty comfortable there, but then I just missed. I got behind the back marker and it was confusing. We got caught up in the S's, and then Brian smelt blood and he would not. I couldn't drop him after that. So I kept doing the sort of times I was comfortable with while pushing, but at that point there, I think he got a second wind and really started to attack. And then I managed to pull another gap, and then on the last lap, again, the S's was where the Ferrari was strongest, no question, because even in his slipstream where I struggled in the earlier laps, when we got to the S's, I got close enough that I could make that move down the inside at the top of the hill. So every time he got close in Sector 1, I thought to myself, don't worry, remain calm, because in Sector 2, through the S's, up the hill, you'll be fine. But I knew that, having watched in the rearview mirror, he was very quick in Sector 3. In the final sort of right, double right, and then the left. So I just kept thinking, okay, well, if he's half a second behind, by the time we get to sector 3, I'm safe. And then that back marker got in the way on the last lap, and really made my life tough. So I'm really happy. Thank you guys for inviting me to the series. I must be honest, when I first saw it online, I think it was on Sportscar 365, I saw it, I was like, oh no, why didn't I get an invite? I was going to email SRO, and eventually you guys came along out of your own steam, which is much appreciated, because I had a lot of fun in the series. Obviously some frustrating moments as well, but 3 podiums, which included a win, I'm very happy with. And also big thanks to Kessel, obviously. I raced with them in real life, and it's a pleasure to run their livery on the car during these events. Big thanks to Chris, my engineer, also from real life. Our relationship over the radio is just getting better and better and better, so I'm very grateful to him. We did an awesome setup. And also to Thrustmaster. They're the guys who provide me with my wheels and pedals, so big thanks to them as well for the kit.
One last question for you. When you were dicing with Brian, did you think at all about the battles that you had at Suzuka in particular, and did that affect the way that you approached that fight here today at Kyalami?
At the end, yes, because I was thinking, oh, he's going to catch me and show me how it's done. But as long as I had a gap in the S's, I was okay. I was stressed. I mean, I had sweaty palms. Sim racing is much more intense sometimes than real racing, because in real racing we have other forces, if you will, other things which are attacking our senses and can kind of distract us from our nerves. Whereas here, you just got your heart rate pumping through your chest, and you've become very aware of that. So, yeah, it was tense, and I didn't want to repeat of Suzuka either in case I did something silly. So I was happy in the end.
It was a brilliant race, a great fight to the finish. Thanks so much for putting on the show and for putting up with us idiots behind the mic as well after each of these races. We've had a blast.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So, Ryan, I think it's about time to begin wrapping this up. It's been an amazing season. 8 rounds. We've traveled the world virtually. Well, we couldn't go anywhere in the real world, but let's just kind of recap the season as a whole. We started out at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and kind of kicked off the season.
Chris, I'm back.
Back. Awesome, dude.
Car was great, man. So consistent.
Dude, we finally did it. We wanted you to
finally, man. Jesus. I mean, it should have happened at Suzuka, but fair enough. I screwed up. I couldn't.
I think you might be muted.
Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah. I am push to talk. Hang on. I was saying that we should have maybe done it at Suzuka, but of that. I mean, the overtake was so difficult to overtake there. But anyway. Looks like a lot of people will want the Nissan setups. Dave, the replay. I got it, but it didn't save the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Car was great. Ladies and gentlemen, we used the Coach Dave Academy quali setup, and the only reason we had to do that was because I had no time this week to test the race setup. So Chris and I said, screw it. We're going to take the quali setup, and we'll just use that. What did we do? We
changed the front brake ducts from 2 to 3 just because the brakes were overheating a bit.
Yeah.
I think we changed maybe the front anti-roll bar. I think that was.
Oh yes, that was good, dude. The freaking debounce. That's where in the last with 5 laps to go, I kept missing the apex in the bowl.
Yeah.
And it's every time I pulled the gear, nothing happened. But sometimes when I got it right, you could see it was like bam, bam, like that.
Yeah.
And that helps the rotation. But if you can't get that and it just effectively coasts in, the car doesn't stop and you get this understeer. And that happened on the last lap. And I was thinking, just nail this apex and he'll be fine. And he closed right in, dude. I was like, no, just no.
I'm relieved you nailed the fast right-hander. What's it called? I'll get the track map up. Turn 13. You know the one with the second last corner.
Oh, cheater. Yeah, I said to myself every single lap, I'm like, just don't crash here or go wide here and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't go wide here, you'll be fine. And I think that's actually what happened to Brian. Because he was 7/10, and then 1.8. And I think it was from there.
Yeah, but actually, I mean, midway through the race, you suddenly picked up the pace and did 2 41.5s in a row. It was about lap 22, lap 23. and that's where you suddenly gapped Brian. and then from there it was just maintaining that.
Just to clear something up, it's not the magnetic shifters, it's the software in the game. Sometimes the debounce is very sensitive, but it's not the shifters because it happens on any wheel that I use. Yeah, dude, I honestly, until that we caught that red Nissan, I was like, okay, I can do a 41.7 like on call. I'm comfortable here. The gap stayed at 1.8, and then that Nissan got us in the S's, lost a second, and Brian just went like a great white shark.
Are you talking the Nissan or are you talking the Aston?
The Nissan. No, the Nissan with
Nissan.
like 10 laps to go.
Yeah.
Alex, it's not that simple to move the brake bias. There's a combination. You want that initial braking to be like bam, 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 and then that locks the rears in a way that the brake pads just can't. The gearbox has to do it, and we do it in real life. And in real life, in the GTE, we even have a thing called, it's not anti-lock, but it's kind of anti-lock. It's not ABS, but it stops you from doing that stuff. Dude, thanks so much.
Dude, always a pleasure, dude.
I think now we got a good rhythm on the radio now.
Yeah. I kind of left you alone for much of the race because I could sense.
There was nothing you could say.
There was nothing
Plus, I
could
see.
Yeah, and I mean, even with the pace updates, it was like literally you and Brian were literally trading
200s sometimes. 200s.
Yeah, it was insane. It was like 2/10 to one lap, and then you were 2/10 quicker the next lap, and then sometimes you do the same lap, and it was just all the way throughout. So it was kind of like, yeah.
Big thanks to James Parker because he does the Coach Dave Ferrari setups, and that's what we used. We just tweaked the roll bar and the brake ducts just for the race actually. The debounce settings are at their minimum already, Rosso. They're at 50 ms. Are you with Kessel done with Rinaldi? No, I raced with Rinaldi in Barcelona. But I do both. I never announced my Kessel deal because it never happened. Well, we signed a contract, but the racing never happened, so I just didn't end up announcing it. And given the calendar, it looks like, well, there's a lot of day clashes between both SRO and ELMS, so who knows what will happen this year. Next race in real life is July, I think. Anything else you want to add, Chris?
Not really much more to add on my side other than you did a fantastic job again.
Again? No, dude, this is the first time ever.
No, I'm saying, I'm just reiterating that you did good.
That you said it again, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's it, eh? What do we got left? We got 3 weeks without each other. I'll give you a call.
Yeah, give me a call. Tell me how things go in virtual Le Mans.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't see Convict Dave, he's racing for Ferrari now. He's going to wear a red cap in the virtual world, but I don't care. That's what matters to me, the red cap. So there it is. What a week. Virtual Le Mans. Who are you racing for? Ferrari. Officially. Any chance we could see you in Zandvoort? I don't know if is there a Zandvoort race in the calendar? Is it still there?
I think there is I think the Zandvoort race is still on. I think it's early. I think it's in August. I think.
Okay.
I'll check.
Dude, you know what we forgot?
Data?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, shit. I mean, I can show you the last 3 laps, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, we still won, so.
Yeah. We only need data when we lose.
Yeah. Well, no, it's always important to have data, even when you have victories. There's always things you can improve. But.
Oh, for sure.
But, yeah, I think this was.
I cannot stream Le Mans because I won't be at my simulator. I can't tell you more than that right now. But I can't stream it specifically from my PC. So what I may do is stream it from a laptop or something. Wherever I am. Can't say. I'm just so happy to have proven Supercubic wrong finally. So good. Before the race, he's like, he's going to finish outside the top 5 as always. Oh, it was so good. He's one of the YouTube commenters, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Do you know if Van der Linde and Bortolotti gonna drive for the Audi? No idea. Don't know their calendars. Actually, I know Kelvin's calendar because he's a coach. Just a reminder, a little bit of promo at the end of the race. Race Sync is live and it's on sale. There's a $10 discount. It's basically the most awesome thing in the world because it's now finally you can get live timing for ACC, especially in endurance races. If you've got a co-driver who's supporting you or an engineer, then you can watch the pit stops of the other guys. You can see how many times they've pitted, the length of time they're in the pit lane to determine your strategy. You can see proper gaps, not that horrible like missing gap field that we have in ACC by default. All of those things have been fixed in Race Sync, and it's for $15, which is nothing because it's free updates. So, is there a possibility to see you? Yes, of course. When I'm at the racetrack, I'm trying to be as friendly as possible. Any chance to stream during your return to real racing? I don't think so. I mean, ask Chris. The calendar is every weekend from July to
pretty
November.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Every weekend from July until November, I think we're racing. I think there's a 2-week break in August. Gives me a chance to go to South Africa and renew my driver's license. You know why, dude? Because in London, I can get, in UK, I can get one.
Yeah.
Yeah? I have to
I know.
send in my passport and resident card.
Yeah.
The hard copies. Guess how long it takes?
It took me, I think it took about 6 weeks for me ish.
6 weeks, dude.
That was maybe 4.
That was pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Wait, have you actually sent yours in?
No.
Oh, okay, right, good.
Are you mad? I'm not sending anything to a government in COVID times. Everyone's on furlough.
Yeah. It's worth doing though.
I have to renew my driver's license, guys, because my road license, $15 once off. Because although I may go to a yearly thing later, so if you buy it now, you're not going to be in the yearly bucket, but the business model could change. Anyway, I need my license so I can rent cars to go from airports to racetracks. Otherwise, Freitas has to drive me, and no one likes that. Harry Spotter is a fantastic engineer, moving to head engineering for Lewis Hamilton, but don't ask him to drive you from Gatwick to London. It's painful.
Oh, God. Yeah, you're never gonna let this go.
I don't have a UK license, Brett. I only have. I'm a South African, dude. I have a South African passport, a South African driver's license. I travel every week when it's not COVID. And I can't send in my passport and my resident card for 6 weeks. It means you can't travel. No, you know, this government didn't think of certain things. For example, what happens when a South African immigrates to this country? It's just a nightmare. You don't want to travel as a South African. Chris is lucky; he's got a Greek passport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a ticket. If you got an EU passport, you got a ticket.
But I swear you can do your South African driver's license online now. Or they're speaking about it at least.
Really? But I have to fetch it with my fingerprints, dude. Embassy.
Right.
They asked if our embassy can help. Dude, let me tell you what our embassy did. I was running out of pages, okay? Again, I was stuck in travel hell, alright? I couldn't spend more than a day out of, you know. I go to the SA embassy. Hi, I'm representing you guys at international level as a professional sportsman. Please, can you help me with a passport? Otherwise, I can no longer do that. They said to me, you can submit your passport here in the UK at the embassy. It will then take 3 months until you get a new one. Chris, you know what I had to do, bro?
Jeez.
You know what to do? Next
What
day,
did you
bro,
do?
on the flight back to South Africa to get a fresh passport. I had to queue for 9 hours. The genius that is David Perel forgot to charge his phone. So 9 hours just standing there like a knob.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Standing there like an idiot for 9 hours, okay? Because I got there as early as possible. It was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then I had to wait 1.5 weeks. And then I got back just in time, dude. Just in time.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, man. And now already,
they're quite efficient in South Africa now. They're a lot more
relatively
efficient than
speaking,
they used
yes.
to be.
But
A lot more efficient than they used to be.
yeah, now I bought a max. I didn't buy. I mean, I got a maxi passport, which is the 32-page one. Okay, dude, I got it
Yeah.
last year, beginning of last year, dude. Okay, it's almost
Yeah.
full. I've got
Oof.
like 7 pages left. I'm like, hi, can you please stamp this little white space here? And the French are like, 4 stamps per page, boom, in the middle of the frickin' passport. Now I'm like, don't you dare, don't you dare. If you want to see my visa, here it is. And they go, can I see it? I'm like, you stamp a frickin' page which has stamps in it. You don't understand. The white space is currency. It's like actually worth something for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, people like my girlfriend, she's like, what? She looks at my passport, she loves it because it looks like I've traveled everywhere.
Yeah, because for EU, we just go through an electronic gate, you know? No
And here,
stamps.
bang, bang, bang. Dude, you must see in Russia how efficient they are. They have tiny little stamps, and Renat shows me his pages. Dude, it's like on this perfect grid. They look for the perfect white space.
Brilliant.
Why are there 2 quali setups and 1 race setup? It's because sometimes we find a different philosophy to go quick with a different way of making a setup, and then we share that setup with you guys. There's no secrets here for customers. So if I find a different way to do the same lap time, I'll share it. And sometimes it's a race O2, sometimes it's a quali O2, sometimes it's both. Yeah. Anyway. Anything else? Chris, you're welcome to hang up, dude. I'm gonna celebrate with a chocolate.
I might do the same, except with a beer.
Oh. I had a beer yesterday and I felt so guilty, dude.
Yeah.
Stick on my wheel. I can see it. It's the right way up for me. Hit a bong, mate. I'm not allowed to. Ladies and gentlemen, did you see my new helmet? For those of you who... This arrived the other day. Oh, I love it. And I will never be able to wear it. Your AMG setups have been a blessing. Thanks, James Parker. Guy's a legend. The last thing I need to try on this helmet is a orange visor. But, I don't know. We could try it now. Do you guys want to see me change a visor? I didn't think so. Yeah, oh no, they do. Okay, hang on. What is that, a formal? I think it's a formal, Allen key. Oh, Chris, you know what was happening in the race, dude?
Yeah.
I was getting cramp. Massive cramp.
Oof.
Because I went for a run before the thing and I didn't stretch afterwards. Dude, I was genuinely cramping up with my brake leg. Because I pressed the brake pretty hard now. And yeah.
Yeah, heck, dude.
I have a PhD in braking things. I have a... Oh shit. Where did the spacer go?
Oh no.
Oh shit. This is like a car seat. It eats things for...
Yeah.
No, that's just the... Oh shit.
You might...
It's okay, I'll
Before you
find it.
take it apart, you might want to take a photo of it just to make sure you put it back together.
No, it's just the visor. I've done this a few times.
Alright, cool.
So I went for my first holiday pretty much ever after high school. When I was 27, I think. I went to Mozambique, dude. And
Ooh, wonderful, yeah.
yeah, it was beautiful. Okay, with Morgado. Yeah, I went with the Morgados, yeah. Okay, so that's what a helmet looks like without a visor. Mega shit. Anyway, and they had some cool stuff there. They had like boats, not theirs, but like friends and stuff. Their uncle had a bunch of cool stuff, and we were staying on the beach and everything. And he had, Cristiano's dad brought his Land Rover, and then there was another one, and then they had 2 quads and 2 boats and 2 scooters, I think, and just a whole bunch of like stuff that they'd have accumulated over the years. Okay, and it equated to like 12 things amongst the Lilos and everything. 12 things. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I broke 11 of them on the last day. including one of the Land Rovers. The only
In
thing, yeah, the only thing I didn't break was the Land Rover of his uncle.
Did you all do this? Did you do this all in one day?
Oh, this looks much better actually. Holy crap! Yes, in one day. Yeah, on the final day actually. They're like, David, please just stop.
What did you line them all up in a row and then just
No,
break them all together?
dude, I had like we were driving because it's all off road in Mozambique. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks much better. And driving along, drive over a massive tree stump that I didn't see. Bang! Sump busted.
Oof, oh no.
So now it's busted. They're like, okay, Dave, you gotta go call the cavalry, right? So someone was following us on one of the quads. I'm like, okay, this is not feeling good. I don't like quads to begin with. I find them dangerous. I go back on the quad, alright? And on the way back, I bust the gears. So I walk the last bit. Yeah. I get back. I'm like, guys, we have two issues. One, the car's broken. Drove over something. The sump is busted. And two, something happened to the quad, like the clutch is busted. Okay, well, here's another scooter. Use this to drive back with us. Okay, go on the scooter. Bust that too. Rear tire. Okay. Look at that. That looks nice, eh? I think that looks quite nice.
Yes, that looks, yeah.
I think that may look better.
I love that, dude. I think it looks better personally. It really brings out the yellow.
The yellow, yeah.
The yellow on the helmet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It breaks
I
the blue.
really
The
love
blue. There's a lot of blue going on here. It breaks it. Okay, I got to order one of these from Stilo. Yeah, that looks nice. But anyway, until then, let me just put everything back together because this comes from that helmet and you got to keep stock. Anyway, then I also broke two Lilos. They popped. So they were pulling me behind the boat and those things popped. And then it just went on. And eventually they're like, David, please just stop using it. Just go stand on the, just chill on the beach on a towel. So anyway, I've got, oh dude, there was another story. You remember the RM1 cart?
Yes.
There was only one of them.
Yes.
Okay. Ed Murray brought it in as a demo. I'm chilling with.
What was it exactly? Because I remember.
It's the first version of the DD2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ed Murray brings one into the country and he's allowing everyone to demo it. And then Kart Sports are like, hey Dave, come try it. Yeah, cool, excited. Okay. So I go and try it. And then at the end of the day, after everyone's done, this is, by the way, if you want to break things, this is what you do. Ask Richard Hammond and ask David Perrell. Okay? What you do is you have one more go. This is the key mistake.
Always the last session, dude. Always.
This is the key mistake. David's going around one more go. Okay? And I absolutely nuke the engine, dude. On a downshift.
Oh, God.
It was a write-off. The engine was completely kaput. I think Ed Murray still hasn't forgiven me for that. Of course, I couldn't afford to fix it. So, that was the story of my life. Yeah.
Well, will you save me when I busted my DD2 engine?
Did I?
Yeah, because I bought your old engine off you.
Oh yeah. How much did I charge you? I think $5,000. No, it was more.
No, it was more.
Yeah, no, it was like 15.
I think it was 10 in the end.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah.
Did I break the towel? Oh, come on.
Because you saved my life there.
I don't think there was such a bad engine though, from what I remember.
That was a good. I think it had just been rebuilt as well.
Dude, that was literally. I think that engine was the last thing I owned.
I think it might. I remember you.
It was the last thing I owned out of all the things. I'm looking for my spacer. It was the last thing I owned out of all the things that I'd owned before, and I needed that money to pay for a flight or something.
Oh, sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I was actually desperate for you to buy that engine. Hilarious. Hilarious. Okay, now where's the spacer, guys? Scheisse.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I did to that.
Oh my god, how did it land up all the way down there? Yeah?
One of the gears went through the crankcase.
Oh!
Yeah.
I remember that could happen.
Yeah, it was like, because I was driving and I heard it was in first, and you know in Kyalami you don't use first that often. You only use it for a short space of time in that.
Yeah, turn 1 and the first 180.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually you use it 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times basically. And during that gear, there was this slight ticking sound, which I heard, and I thought it was honestly coming from the brake side.
The clip is slowly but surely dismantling itself.
It was I heard this clicking sound, but it was like it was really soft. I thought it was coming from the brake side because it seemed to come from the left side of the card. Anyway, I was about 2/3 of the way through the race. I come out of golf club, I pull the paddle, and there's this almighty crunch.
Oh my gosh.
And like almighty, it's just like, and I pull and like there's no gear.
Oh god.
there's no gear.
Chris, when you're racing on a budget, dude, how terrifying is it when you seize an engine, when you break a rim, when the seat breaks, the worst is when the chassis, like the seat mounts. Oh my, how the hell am I going to pay for this? Jesus. It's just the worst feelings in the world. I'm with you, dude. I could empathize with you because it's just devastating, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I think that engine had literally just been rebuilt as well.
Yeah. Dude. You want to know my funniest running in story?
What's your funniest run-in story?
Okay. Do you remember Keith Free?
I don't think I've met Keith.
Gary Free?
I might have. Gary, I know the names, but
Freeze. Okay, they were famous in South Africa for doing, especially Keith. He was a bit of a Formula Ford master back in his day, but he was also a very good engine builder. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're racing 100 cc's. And
100. Yes.
100 cc stock. Oh, by the way, I started racing at like 15ish. Anyway, so Gary brings the engine built by Keith to the track, and he says, "You got to run it in." I said, "Okay, I've done this a billion times in my life." He's like, "Okay, but now, just by the way, Chris, we knew that this engine specifically was an absolute rocket, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
1 in 1,000. All right. Look after it. Yeah, I know how to run in an engine. Okay." And so, I smudged my glasses. So he says to me, "But now, run it in as normal, but then to 14,000 RPM." I was like,
"Yeah.
What do you mean run it in at 14,000 RPM? He's like, yeah, like you normally do, and then at 14,000 RPM. I'm like,
no, I can see where this is going.
I was like, Gary, I don't understand. He's like, David, run it as normal and then 14,000 RPM. Okay, fine. This sounds weird to me, but this is the special engine. Keith has built it, the magician. But clearly this has a special way of running in. By the way, dear viewers, you should be running in at like there's 3 sessions, 15-minute run in, okay? Each session. The first one should be done at like 6,000. Then you test it to 8,000, maybe 9. Then you test it to 10 or 11. And then on the last 2 minutes of that 10 to 11, you maybe go to 14 or 15 or 16,000 and you choke. Bob. David Perrell, with this specific engine, and just keep in mind, it was my job at one point to run in engines. Okay, so with this specific engine, out the box, okay, straight to 14,000, bro. No, the first 2 laps, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't rev this thing to 14,000. He's like, but this is what Gary said. He said then 14,000. I'm like, this makes no sense. Here I go. First 2 laps, I'm like, can't do it. I'm choking. I'm like, dude, to get to 14,000 with a rebuilt engine, it's the whole straight. It's the whole thing. What? I'm like, this thing's stuck at 13.5, because it's tight.
Yeah.
The engine is tight. Anyway, by some miracle, it doesn't blow, okay? Gary comes running out from Car Sport. Waving his arms. What are you doing? And then obviously I get the lectures like I've never run in an engine before. And then Gary stood there on the side of the track the whole day, Chris, raising his arm, like accelerate, and then dropping his arm, brake, accelerate, brake. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I have to eat shit here, but I know what to do. I would have done this the first time if I didn't get so confused with your instructions. It wasn't Gary's fault. Anyway, everything seems fine. We're going to take this motor to the Nationals, and I bring it up to 16,000. I think at the time, if you could get a PCR to run 16.4 at Kyalami, you were flying.
Hmm.
Okay. I get it up to 16.4 once or twice, and then we stop. Just check it, unscrew the head, check everything. Okay, da-da-da. Okay, David, it's time to push. Okay. Go out, lap 2. Dude, the mother and father of 100cc seasons. The mother and father of 100cc seasons. This thing nuked itself. Needless to say, the team owner, Nick Generakis, and Keith, and Gary, were so angry with me, dude. And I completely understand. And I was like, I don't even know what to say here. I mean, I've got so many of those stories. Do you know what happened when I left an engine in Europe? Claudio's watching, so he knows that one.
You left an engine in Europe?
Hmm. You don't know this one?
I do not know this one.
Oh my god. Okay. So again, this is what happens when you have no money. Claudio knows. We find another bullet. This is many years later in 125 max. Okay.
Yeah.
Senior max. I was pretty decent in that. And we did one European round, which was a miracle for me to get overseas. And then by just begging, robbing, stealing, we managed to get to the second one. With the help of Claudio's dad, with the help of Claudio, and then all the pennies that I have. But obviously we don't have money to rent engines and or have a mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay? So we decide we're going to carry engines as hand luggage on the flight to Europe. Do you know how much an engine weighs, dude?
Those engines, it's close to about 20 kilos.
Almost-ish. Almost-ish.
Yeah.
Okay, so the trip there is fine. First of all, we don't get caught. Obviously, I packed incredibly light. Okay.
Yeah. I can't. How many clothes did you have? Did you just have clothes?
I just had
surrounded
underwear
by
basically and one suit. One suit
Yeah.
for a European race, dude. We're talking
possibly wet.
Tuesday to Sunday, testing every hour. Tuesday to Sunday, testing every hour. Okay? One suit. Anyway, doesn't matter. Claudio bought a lot of vitamins, Claudio. I remember that. Anyway, we arrive unscathed in Austria. I do the races. Okay, but now, dude. Hang on one second. When you are racing in the European Karting Championship, okay, you don't sit down if you don't have a mechanic. You do not sit down until you get back in the kart for the next race.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you're running from the end of the session. You're begging someone, can you help me lift the kart back on the trolley? And then our pit happened to be the furthest away. I remember Claudio and I realizing this and going, oh my god. Because Claudio was also driving himself. He didn't have time to mechanic me. He did help me change my seat often.
Was this the year that Claudio won the Euros?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm running back and forth. Eventually the team say, oh, here's another engine, a test engine to use between the two. And dude, I think about it to this day. At some point in the weekend, through the panic of like session change, okay, I must have changed the engines back and forgot and didn't recognize which is which. First of all, there was no identifier. We didn't put a marking on one of the engines. Okay, so we don't know this. So I bring back the shit engine.
Oh no.
Wait, gets worse. We continue to race, dude. And Claudio and I are like, what the hell has gone on here? This engine used to be a bullet. What happened in Austria? Oh, it was very hot in Austria. It was very hot in Austria. Maybe we overcooked it. Claudio put in a new ring. Just trying to do anything to get this engine to go, dude. Eventually, we get to the SA finals in Swartkops. And you have to register the engine. You have to register the seal number to make sure that, you know, you're legal and everything.
Yes.
I hand in the engine. Because this is our bullet, even though we know it's no longer a bullet. This is the best we got. And they're like, this seal number doesn't exist in our database. I was like, what are you talking about? It's impossible. Like, I don't have the resources to cheat. I literally don't have the resources to cheat. No, this engine, it's not that. It's this engine comes from Europe. Claudio just looks at me, dude. And he I think Claudio stopped talking to me for the rest of the weekend.
It was one of the lows. It was one of the lows because then I was struggling in the race. I had two big crashes at the start. Claudio he went through the motions. He did what he needed to do. Stood on the grandstand. Came back. There was nothing spoken. He was so mad at me because I left this thing in the middle in Austria. And that engine still is being used by someone and probably winning because it had the perfect cylinder, which is what you wanted. You need a specific batch numbers for the Rotax engine were the magic. If you had a certain batch number, you had a good cylinder which effectively didn't warp during the curing process or something.
Yeah.
And if you found one, they revved unbelievably, and it was like they went through the power valve, and then there was like a second power valve. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's where they've banned those cylinders now.
Yeah, it's much more what would you say?
Controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another story. I have many. Karting was tough, man. Because then, even after that, we found money to go to Belgium. Yes! And then in Belgium, dude, I'd been developing a chassis for PCR, Claudio as well as me. The PCR Advance. Remember that chassis?
Yes!
Yes!
PCR Advance.
Claudio and I helped develop that thing, bro. And they had
Is that why it was so amazing? Because it wasn't a mental
That's where I learned how to give driver feedback. Was that year because Claudio put me in anything which looked like a Rotax Max, and I drove it and I tested it, and I could tell, dude, the difference between hub materials, and it was right every time. It was an unbelievable year of detail. Anyway, get to Europe, all the carts, the chassis come out the truck. Where's David's Advance? Oh, shit, we forgot it. Okay, well, what is he going to use? Yeah, use the old one, which, by the way, we knew was utter dog shit. Okay, we're in Genk, my third and final European experience in karting. Use this thing. Okay. And blueprinted. But that was for the hundreds. That was for the 100 cc's, I think. For the Rotax, it was just about batch numbers and cylinders. Anyway, so dude, in between sessions, okay. So so the first day I just used the old shitty one, way off the pace. The next day they drive the new chassis from Belgium to me, from Italy to me. Arrive. There's still 3 days of testing essentially. Well, it's 2 days of testing and then starts the knockout heats. So I basically had a day actually to build the chassis, but I still had to test. Because you still have to test like jetting, you have to test sprockets, you have to all that stuff. So you don't need a good chassis just to test those things until you get to the details. So dude, in between runs, I would drive, bolt back to the pits, change the axle, change the seat in the shit chassis, and then immediately start building the new chassis. Push the old shitty cart back to the grid, boom. 15 minutes practice, back, change whatever it was, an engine, now we need to test engines, then use the next thing to eventually, dude, I get this chassis done, okay, but by now, I'm roasted, I'm toast, I'm mentally gone, it's tickets. Dude, 3 laps into the session with the chassis, I go through a fast kink, and some kid banzai moves me down the inside, and fires me so far off the track, I go under the catch fence and out of the circuit. Half of the cart is out of the circuit and it hit a rock and bent the whole frame. So guess what? First of all, no sympathy. David, you just broke an Advance. You bent it. I was like, well, if you saw the move, okay. I bolt back. I have to rebuild the old chassis that I unbuilt.
Oh gosh, dude.
Jesus. That's why, when I quit racing the first time, I was done. I had no more passion for racing when I quit. I had absolutely no problem to say, nah, I'm done now. And, these experiences, though, were, okay, the first year of GT was pretty tough as well, mentally. But those experiences are everything that shaped me. It was better than any university I could have gone to. That year in Europe with Claudio, well, flying back and forth. Oh, when we the perla is that when we flew back from Austria with the wrong engine, they caught us for being overweight. And that was like 5,000 rand.
Oh no.
Yeah. I remember
5,000 rand back in what, the mid 2000s as well.
2006.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Dude.
And I remember Claudio. He saw the people at the counters for the airline, and he said this. He's like, "David, we fucked." He's like, "I can see," because he had the travel experience I have now. He had it then. He's like, "I can see the look in their eyes. They're gonna find us." It's true as nuts. 350 euros, which to a South African, guys, is everything. It's a month's salary.
Yeah.
Especially for me back then. I suppose you're earning what, 10 grand when you. Yeah, if you were earning 10 grand in 2006, you were like, what? The guy's earning 10. Jeez, imagine what I could do with 10 grand. Nothing. You can't do jack with 10 grand. That's all. I don't know what other stories I have. I have the World Finals story. I made it to the World Finals, ladies and gentlemen. Bottled it. No, I didn't really bottle it. It was my first one. But it's interesting how many Rotax World Finalists are now professional GT drivers, Chris.
Yeah.
Indy Doncher.
Was
Chris
Indy
Doodoo.
Rotax?
Indy?
Sure.
Dude, not only that, but he says, David, I remember your name. I was like, impossible. He's like, yeah, we were both in Alain doing the World Finals. I was in Junior Max, and I remember your name on the commentary, because the commentator had such a unique way of saying things. Marlon Stockinger, Cristiano Mugado. So he must have heard this David Perel thing at some point. He's like, yeah, dude, we were both in Rotax, Junior Max and Senior Max. I was like, that's insane. Hell, man. And now here I'm stuck with you, dude.
All these years later.
Hey?
Yeah.
Hi, Dave. We need to find that. You know, that the price of that DD2 engine is probably lurking in our inbox.
It's in the Facebook inbox. I can tell you.
Yes,
that.
it's in the
I can tell
Facebook
you that right
inbox.
now.
Yeah. Okay, but that's it. I need to call my girlfriend. I need to go buy chocolate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed story time.
Yep.
And what new car setups are coming? On Thursday we got the Audi, and tomorrow I'm gonna announce the SimGrid. What? Ciao, ciao.